invited to come for an interview with Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. And so I did that, trained on Wall Street. As a matter of fact, I trained in the World Trade Center,
Wow.
uh, one of those buildings that went down.
Mm.
Uh, and so I trained there. But as far as investments and things like that, you asked me to come up with some ideas or maybe give 5 points on 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 investing
Mhm.
and money matters, if I understand correctly.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, the first thing I would say is that we need to start as early as possible and as young as you possibly can. So if we have some really, really young people out there, then you want to start now because your way to being having a successful portfolio is better because you have more time. You see,
Mhm.
so there are a couple of things you want to start early when you start working, and it's never too late to start, but the earlier the better. And you want to be able to put away, I would say, at least 10% of your earnings there and some type of interest account, whether you get into stocks or not. I think stocks are really, really good for younger people. You want to pick out something, number one, put it aside, and let's say you want to invest. First thing, measure or know your risk tolerance.
Mm.
And what I mean by that, how much risk are you willing to take? If you're a person that's really, really nervous about your money and you're afraid of losing a dime, you may not want to buy stocks. You might want to look into more stable mutual funds.
Mhm.
You see, stocks on its own, and they have to earn on its own. Okay. So let's say you buy a stock in Amazon. You buy stock in Amazon. Well, Amazon is a pretty solid company, so it might be a good idea there. You might want to buy a stock in something that's something that people um, always that's high in demand.
Mhm.
Okay. Chances are, if it's a high in demand, that stock you might want to look at the price of it because the more in demand it is, the higher it is. Higher it is. It goes up by its supply and demand.
Mm.
If there's a high demand for it, the price is going to go up. You can count on that. Okay,
Mm.
because it becomes more valuable.
Mm.
Okay, you want to, if you're a person who's real timid or real nervous about your money, then you don't want to do something that's really high risk. Now, some high risk stocks might be in technology. Some might be like we talked about off air, and we talked about penny stocks.
Right.
Okay, what is a penny stock? Well, they consider anything under $5 a share. Some people said two, but it fluctuates between 2 and 5, but I would say $5. Anything under $5 a share is considered penny stock, which is really relatively inexpensive.
Right.
$5 a share versus something that might be going for $100 a share or 150 or $200 a share.
Right.
You follow me?
Okay.
Because it depends on your money. Let's say if you have $1,000 to invest and you want something $2, I mean $200 a share, you can only buy 5 stocks, right?
Right. Right.
Okay, versus something that maybe $10 a share, and let's say you have $1,000. Now you can buy many more. If the growth potential is there, you
Mhm.
stand a chance to. There's a chance you're going to make more money.
Mm.
So number one, know your risk tolerance. Okay, if you are, again, I'm going to repeat, if you are nervous or you want to go into something that, like I said, a mutual fund. So people say, what is a mutual fund? Well, a mutual fund is let's say we have a bucket. And we have in a mutual fund, you will have a whole bunch of stocks in it. It could be 30, 40, 50 stocks in it.
Mm.
You're going to have some bonds in there. Okay. Could be several bonds. There's also might be some cash in there.
Mm.
And depends on the level of risk that's in their mutual fund. One, you might have maybe an 80-20 portfolio with stocks versus bonds.
Mm.
Or you might have more high tech or high risk stocks in there. And so with the higher the risk, there's a chance that you could make more money, but there's a good chance you're going to lose it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. So I would rather have something that's going to say maintain maybe a 6, 7, 8% return. Maybe that's all. Well, You could go into something that would have the potential of making 15, 20%. But
Wow.
see, the higher the uh, possibilities, the higher the chance you could lose it as well.
Wow.
Okay. Keep in mind, the higher the risk, you're going to make more money. All right. But there's a good chance that you could lose. Now, for those extremely nervous investors there, you may want to not want to look at any of those at all. You might want to take something that has a stable, guaranteed rate to it. Okay. A guaranteed rate. Well, the guaranteed rates, they've gone way down in years. They are as low as 2 or 3%,
Wow.
3% per year. Now, some people that are very nervous, they say, look, I'll take the 3% as long as I don't have any losses.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'll take that because you take that 3% compounding that over the years, then you could still make money and you haven't lost anything. What is compounding? That means that your interest is making interest.
Wow. That's awesome.
Okay.
That's
So
money on top of money right there.
money on top of money.
Right,
So
right.
also, another thing is that you want to, let's say if you are in a job and they offer 401k, jump on it.
Mm.
Okay. You want to get it, especially if the company will match some of your money.
Right, right.
Now, they won't now some companies say, well, and I think what's standard in the industry is something around 6%. They will match up to 6% of what you put in there.
Mm.
Okay.
Wow.
So up to 6%, they will go on and match that 6%. But see, again, each year that will compound as well.
Mm.
Again, you want to get with somebody who knows what they're talking about because you have a whole bunch of choices.
Mm.
Some are low risk, some are moderate risk, some are high risk. Okay. Even though they use primarily what we call mutual funds.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
So you want to look at the history, look at the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10 year history of something. That's another tip. Look at the consistency. If something is bouncing up 1 year and bouncing way down the next year, you may not want to do that. You want something that has maybe a consistent growth with it. Okay.
Mm.
Some like to go in what they call the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones. Okay. So your basic indices are your Dow Jones, okay, your S&P 500, and the NASDAQ. What is an indice? An indice singly is called an index.
Mhm.
An index is something like the S&P 500, 500 stocks in there.
Mm.
Okay? And consistently, that has had a consistent pattern. I'm not going to quote exactly what it is. 8, 9, 10%, 8, 9% over the last 10, 15, 20 years or so. That's what it's averaging.
Mm.
Okay? So there's 30 in there. What is the Dow Jones? Your Dow Jones, I look at them as your prime stocks, your prime companies,
Mm.
and there are 30 of them.
Mm.
There are 30 of those, right? And those companies, and the Dow Jones is a very good index.
Mhm.
Okay, so the S&P 500 is what they call an index. Okay, because it's picking 500 of, I would say, good stocks to go in there. Your Dow Jones is an index. There's 30 stocks in there. Okay. Your NASDAQ, I forgot how many stocks in the NASDAQ, but your NASDAQ market is made more of tech stocks.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
see what I'm getting at?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I would say tech stocks for your NASDAQ, your real premium stocks. Okay. Some people used to call them blue chips. Okay. The
Mm.
best. That's in your Dow Jones 30. Okay. And then you have your S&P 500. Those are 500 of the top companies, basically, that you can find. And it could be some tech stocks in there. It could be some that's in the Dow Jones, you see, but it's 500 of them. The idea, what the market try, or what the companies try to do, they try to say, okay, the more you have, that means that your risk is spread out and less likely you will lose versus having maybe just one or two stocks. So because they will, it's conceived or it's conceivable that even though some may go down, the good stocks will hold the whole portfolio up, or that investment up, if I'm making any sense to you at all.
So that's with the mutual funds. You basically it's the don't put all your eggs in one basket kind of thing, because you'll have,
I think that's really
if one of them cracks, you'll still have several more that
that's
left over that
that's
are doing
that,
well.
that's the idea. That's the idea. And see, I tell you, a lot of things will also, and you want to look at what's going on in around the world. What's needed? Give you a little idea. When COVID first hit, and I think this is a tragedy, because I know, and there's evidence that you have some of your uh, government officials, the people who make the laws, they get involved in insider trading, the same thing that would send us to prison.
Right, right.
Okay. Remember when COVID first hit, a lot of these people in Congress and some senators, and I'm not going to name any names, but they have what they did. They dumped their stocks in banks and airlines and things like that, and they bought stocks that had to do with research and things of that nature, developing, vaccines and things like that. They got the information before the public did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, if I were a stockbroker and I got that information and I say, hey, Ann, you might want to dump your stock in XYZ and come on buy some of this or in these pharmaceuticals or whatever it is. And I gave you that information and that was not public knowledge, both of us could go to jail.
Mm-hmm. Right,
You see, we're getting that.
right.
So, but anyway, so you really want to pay attention to what's going on. What is popular now, and that may maintain itself.
Mm,
So you want to do your research as far as that is concerned.
mm,
Okay. I would also advise that if you're a very young person, that you might want to have a portfolio that will consist of perhaps you can have some stocks in there. You can have mutual funds. You can also have some life insurance.
mm.
Okay. I would do that because, oh, and especially life. I'm not talking about term insurance. I'm talking about insurance that will, like a universal life or whole life, especially. That's my favorite. You could have um, uh, uh, fixed index annuity. I mean, fixed index, or what am I looking at? Index life insurance. Okay, IUL, Index Universal Life Insurance. Index Universal Life Insurance. Remember me talking about index, about the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq?
Right.
You can get those types of things within an insurance policy. And so that way you are investing and you're also protecting yourself.
I didn't know you could do that. So what's the purpose of that? I mean,
Well,
I guess I'm wondering how that works, because this is the first time I've heard of that one.
oh yeah. Well, see, this is the idea, and just like anything else, because say for instance, you are investing. The purpose of that is that you get a chance of realizing the gains in the market, and a lot of these things have floors on it. So if the market goes down, you do not lose,
Mm-hmm.
but you're investing and you are covering yourself. So if something happened to you, your family can reap the benefits of that policy. But
Mm-hmm.
what happens is if it's done right, or if you have the right mix, then it could do the same thing you could without the protection. Insurance is considered protection. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say, for instance, I want insurance because I want to protect my family, but I also want to invest. So it's sort of like killing two birds with one stone.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, when a person dies, is it that the stock is transferred to the recipients of the policy, or is the stock cashed out, or I guess that
Very
part
good
is what's
question.
confusing me.
No, no. When you pass away, whatever proceeds are in that policy. Okay, let's say you bought a policy and it's worth $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when you die, that policy is worth $300,000. Then
Mm-hmm.
then the family will get that cash, and generally it's tax free. That's
Okay.
another advantage of it.
So basically, you're saying, so if somebody takes out a $200,000 insurance policy, but it's got stocks like mutual funds or something, and that mutual fund grows, then when the person dies, it's and it's worth more, like you said, $300,000 in this instance, the
Mhm.
payout would be 300,000 instead of 200,000.
Absolutely.
That's nice.
Absolutely.
That there
Now,
makes it worth it.
now, in that case, they're not called. Well, actually, it's the same thing, but they're not called mutual funds within an insurance policy. They're called sub accounts. It's the
Okay.
same basic thing. Same basic thing. Sub
Okay.
accounts inside of a insurance policy. If you buy a mutual fund outside of that, um, uh, I mean, if you buy one outside of that, then it's called, like I said, mutual funds. If it's just a mutual fund, it's a mutual fund. If you put it inside of an insurance policy, it's called a sub account. And I want the audience to know the difference there, so they know what to look for. You
Mhm.
see. So
Wow.
going back over, you might want to have, and that's a pretty good balanced portfolio. You see.
Mhm.
Uh, there are so many. Also, you might want to look at what they call, especially, you might want to look at what they call an FIA. Okay, now I don't want to confuse the audience. Let's set things aside. Let me just break it down for a little bit. We start off talking about basic savings. Okay, we talked about mutual funds. What the different types of there are different types of mutual funds. Okay, it could be just like a soup. Whatever you put in that soup, that's that mutual fund. Okay, I can have some stocks here. I can have some bonds here. I can have this here. I can have cash in there. Okay, I might have some gold in there.
Mhm.
Okay, I might have a mutual fund of that nature, right? Then you have what you call your indices, okay, which could be considered sort of like a mutual fund, except for it's 500 of stocks, okay, in your S&P 500. You've got 30 in your Dow Jones index, and like I said, I don't remember exactly how many that's in your Nasdaq. So you got those things. Then you have, like I said, I would recommend that anyone who has those, you might want to have insurance as well. Yeah, and you want to have insurance that's going to build up a cash reserve.
Mhm.
Okay, and those could be, let's see, a whole life that will build up cash reserve, but there's no stocks involved in that. It's just an interest bearing. It will make interest for you. It will make interest. Okay. You have your index universal life insurance policy. Remember the index. Okay. So you have those. You also have what they call a variable universal life insurance policy. That is the most risk taker. That's the highest risk of them all. Okay. Let me repeat this. I have a portfolio. I've got stocks in that portfolio. I have mutual funds in that portfolio. Now I have insurance in that portfolio. I can have insurance in there, like I said, a whole life, okay, policy. There are no stocks involved. It's just going to make interest, or make interest, for lack of a better word. I could also have in there a policy like an IUL, or an Index Universal Life, that could have the S&P 500 we talked about, okay, or the Dow we talked about, okay. I could also have a variable, a variable universal life policy. What does that mean? That may contain high risk mutual funds, or maybe mutual funds, and they encourage no guarantees. Okay, that thing could go up or down. If it goes up, I'm in good shape. But if I lose in there, that could also affect the value of the policy. Okay, so you want to look at, okay, what is best for me? I'm 25 years old. I can probably afford to get into a variable policy, considering that this is a long term investment, because over the market has proven to go up over the years. But the idea is that you have to stay in order to make it. The problem that a lot of people have when they're in a variable, Now, variable investment is risky. It means that you can win or you can lose. Okay, that's what variable means. You have a question.
You said something about an FIA, and we only have 5 minutes left. I want to know what
Oh
that is
no,
because I don't know what that is.
FIA is called a fixed indexed annuity.
Okay.
One of my favorites, a fixed indexed annuity. And let me just share this with you. I can't believe we got 5 minutes left. Oh, but
See
anyway,
how
let me
much you
speed up.
talk. See?
Okay, a fixed, well, you brought me on to talk, right?
That's
A
right.
fixed in a fixed index annuity. Okay, that means that no matter what happens in the market, you can never lose your principal.
Wow, that's nice.
One of my favorites is called fixed. So those of you who are thinking about say, you know what, I really want to take advantage of the market, but I'm afraid to take the risk. Okay, well then get yourself a fixed indexed annuity. Most of them, if it's qualified. Now, qualified means that like it comes from a 401k or an IRA or something like that. That's qualified. Non-qualified means that I've got some money and I don't want to put in it. And most of them between $5,000 and $10,000 to start it. Okay, that means that I can take advantage of the market when it goes up. But if the market loses, let's say I start with $10,000 and it went up 10%. Now I have $11,000, right?
Hmm.
Okay, at the end of that year. So what these things, they have an automatic lock on them. So that means starting the next year, I've got $11,000. Let's say overall the market goes down and everybody else in mutual funds, they're losing and the market is going down. At the end of that year, I still have $11,000.
Mm, okay.
You follow me?
Right, right.
Am I making sense? Okay. And then when it goes up, there's an automatic lock on it. Say the next year it goes up another 10%, and next year it goes up 5%, whatever it is. Each year it's locked in. So this is a good thing for the nervous investor.
So
Very good
basically,
thing,
once you get to a certain point, say you start out with $50,000, you will not lose the $50,000 no matter what happens.
no
And
matter what happens.
as,
No
as
matter what happens.
but
And it's
if you
great for
gain,
rollover.
but if you
Huh?
gain in $10,000 and it goes up to 60,000, then now you're locked at that point and you won't lose the 60,000, whatever, no matter what happens.
That's exactly right.
That's
That's
nice.
exactly right. That's for your nervous investors that really want. They don't want to take the risk of losing at all, but they also want to get in on the action to see what's going on. It's great for rollovers. It's great for people who had a 401k at another job. They left and they need somewhere to put their money in. That's a great thing to do. Let's say you have some money in the bank is just sitting there because banks, they aren't paying any interest on savings account. I think they pay
Right.
you one half of 1%, maybe. Okay.
Right.
And yet, with these types of things here, you can put that money in there and you don't have to worry about losing. If the market goes up 10, 15%, you get that if it's locked in at the end of the year. Uh, I love doing that. That's why I don't trade stocks anymore because I rather not have anybody knocking on my door because I lost their money. Because with these types of investments, you don't lose it, you can't lose it, and your clients are there happy because they are making money and they haven't lost any. And a lot of these don't have any fees.
Wow, that's awesome. Now we
Yeah.
unfortunately have less than 2 minutes left. How important is it for African Americans and other minorities to invest? I mean, are we very active in the stock market, or when it comes to making investments?
Well, it's more than you think.
Mm-hmm.
I had quite a few black clients. I had clients all over. I think that what happens is that we do need to teach our children more about that. We need to educate our families more about that. And what I had a chance of doing, I used to go around to middle and high schools and talk to the young adults about it, along with the teachers and the faculties about the importance of investing. I think that we should do a lot more of it, and because that's one way of building wealth. Also, another thing we need to do is to buy more insurance for ourselves. Because do you know there are many hospitals that have been built or because somebody bought a policy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They bought a wing to a hospital, or they were able to leave enough money for their family to start a business.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That is a great way to leave a legacy. There's a
Mm-hmm.
great way to leave a legacy by having an insurance policy. So a lot of people look at insurance, oh, it's taboo. No, no, no. It's smart. It's smart. Think it's really smart. You know,
Exactly. And
because you can buy a life insurance policy don't mean you're going to die. That doesn't mean that.
well, William, you have given us a whole lot of information in a very short period of time. I told y'all he was good with money, really great with money. He knows this stuff. So, tell everybody how they can, listen to your radio show, your finance radio show, right here on Studio W Buzz, and how they can otherwise um, get your services when it comes to money matters.
Great. Let's see. Let's start off with if you want, if you have some questions, give me email me, William at studiowbuzz.com or WB Financial Services 99 at gmail.com, WB Financial Services 99 at gmail.com. We did suspend the program for a while, but we will be starting it back up this month. And thank you for asking. And that will be at 10 o'clock on the West Coast. I'm trying to get three. There's a 3 hour difference now since we moved locations. 1 o'clock here Eastern Standard Time, and it's the World on Finance. Not only can I give you tips on how to invest and whether it comes to insurance matters, stock market matters, annuities, things of that nature, but also we have another gentleman by the name of Everett James, and he will talk to you about taxes and how to avoid paying higher taxes than you have to.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Huh. Isn't that something? I need to talk to him. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
is
nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
right, because I mean a lot of people have an issue with paying, too high taxes, and
right.
or ending up, having to pay in at the end of at the end of the tax season. And so knowing some shortcuts, or some some tips for how to make sure you don't have to pay, the IRS at the end of the year, or how to avoid paying too much tax. Or, I mean, one of the things, as an attorney that um, I know a lot of people have issues with is how to leave their loved ones, what they have, especially if they've got a lot of assets, with them having a lower tax on that, on whatever it is that they receive from their estate. So it's interesting. I don't like to deal with that kind of stuff, so that's why I need people like you. As a matter of fact, William, you still have not gotten back to me on something that we are supposed to be working on. So I'm waiting because I need to know what to do.
Okay. And we will take care of that. There's so much, folks. We just again we moved from the West Coast, and I thought the transition was going to be really really easy. So we're still working out some things. But and sure. Oh, but real quick, I see we have a guest there. She's in the green room. I'm going to let her in. I don't want her to think that we have forgotten about her. If that's okay.
It
Uh,
is
and
okay because I thought that she wasn't here messing around with you.
no.
But
Hi,
no,
I've been hanging out here.
you've been
Yeah.
hanging out, else.
Hey, Elsa, how are you?
Good, how are you? I was like, oh, I could hear you guys talking, but it said that you had to let me in, and I was like, oh, well, okay.
Okay, yeah, but no, we had you. But see, Ann, she likes to talk, so that's why we were in the
Stop.
green room for you.
Stop.
No, we were just having a lot of fun. I can't believe
No,
this
that's
hour is.
good.
Yeah, I can't believe this hour is over. But anyway, I just want to give a real quick plug. Teens Talk Truth is coming up here shortly. Also, pronounce your last name. Is that
Caballero.
Caballero? Caballero. I thought so. Teens Talk Truth, and she's going to join AJ and Alex here shortly, folks, right after the music. But anyway, I just want to share with this. And tomorrow, I want the audience to tune into the Boomerang Radio Show. We have a very, very special show tomorrow. We're going to talk about little people attacking Ketanji Jackson Brown. Okay. I got a little segment and something I'm going to play called Little Tuck Tuck. Okay, referring to Tucker Carlson. All
Oh
right,
my
okay.
gosh. Don't
Yep.
do
Oh
it.
boy, oh
Don't.
boy. We gonna
Don't do
Little
it.
Tuck Tuck. Oh, there is something on YouTube that you need to hear. This is Pastor